Okay, wow, we're back. We're back and we're ready for it. If you missed that ending of that game, you really need to go back. It's like the last 10 minutes of game number 2. So we had two old men that they were up 5,000-6,000 gold, and just proceeded to start losing some of the team fights, and it was 18-12 with the losing team having 18 kills. Pretty wild, but we've got the third game right back up. We've had just a short break. They're two old men. They're regaining their composure. They're getting right back in this game, and we're going to get into this champ select. Invictus Game Station League of Legends Cup 2. Okay, Toronto League Commune. You're here. You're on the channel. Exel. You can see the name back there. There you go. And we're going to go ahead and cast this pro draft and see if this game 3 lives up to games 1 and 2, because I'm going to be watching these games again. These are some really, really entertaining games. Okay, swinging over to the first bands. So similar bands out from Gringos here, the Thresh, Nocturne, and Vayne. They've done the same bands for each of the games. Two old men, switching them up back and forth. They don't want to see that Corki that they saw in game 1, who really took over game 1. But they're deciding not to ban any of the carries from game 2. So we're going to see how that works out for them. Strangely, Xin Zhao had not been picked by anyone or banned, and he did really well in both games. But in game 2, Xin Zhao 8-2-6, but still lost. 8-2-6 and lost. Tavares was 7-1-8, lost. Just crazy how that 5 minutes there at the end. But swinging back around here. We're having the first pick Caitlyn coming back around, the Morgana Ezreal. Ezreal and the Caitlyn is generally it's a hard match to play. You generally want to be on the Caitlyn side, but the Tom DLP, 2 men, drop LP, picking it into it, figuring if you pick the Morgana, maybe that can shift it back towards the Ezreal side. The Gringos picking up the Lulu after that. Lulu Caitlyn, a real strong combination. Specifically, if Caitlyn gets ahead, you can use the W and the E that Lulu has onto Caitlyn and really speed her up, get her all those damage procs. If she gets into trouble, you can use the ultimate as well. Sejuani now being seen in this tournament. A personal favorite of mine. One of probably the strongest tank junglers right now, Jarvan and Sejuani. You'd say Sejuani building entirely tank, whereas Jarvan, you have a little more flexibility with that. And then Gringos finishing up with the Jarvan pick, who's been a staple in these games. A little curious not seeing Xin Zhao, but Red side deciding to go with the Sejuani instead. Finishing out the bands, Vladimir Urgot, Kassadin, Karma. So 2 old men taking out strong picks from last game, specifically the Kassadin. Kassadin finished at 3-1-4 and did really well in the early laning phase where Kassadin normally struggles. So where the point that he's supposed to be weak, he was strong, and then he just kept getting stronger and stronger as the game went on, and really only dying once is a great way to to go through that game as Kassadin. So 2 old men picking up the Aurelia, who's just recently been buffed. The passive now grants attack speed instead of damage, which before. The Blade Surge has bonus damage to minions, so better for wave clear. But on a slight nerf front, Defiance Dance, the W, the damage reduction was taken as It used to be 40% reduced AD and AP damage. Now it is just 50% reduced AD. So she's not that great into AP champions now, but she's even better against AD champions. Swinging along, Gringos picking up the Karthus. First time seeing Karthus. We haven't seen a ban or a pick for Karthus yet in this tournament, which, considering how strong he is right now in the meta, did not face any nerfs in 9.3. Is a top pick, mostly for the jungle. Although when you see Jarvan also picked, it makes me think that we're going to be having... Wow, this team could really go anywhere here as Gringos. When you see Nami being picked, it has to be support, and now Lulu has got to really go mid or top lane. And then Karthus and Jarvan, they can really swing, you know, back and forth. They both could be jungle. They both could be top lane. And finishing off the draft, we have Gragas, who looks like he's going to be... Again, there's a number of flex picks here. I'll predict that Gragas will be the top lane. It will be the mid lane. But we're going to have to see how that goes. Morgana is possible to be a mid laner as well. Really good into... really good wave clear, that is. So if you're just looking to extend the game, then she could be used for that. But most likely going to be the support. But we have seen all over Korea Gragas being picked as a support champion. He's got great engage. He's got tank. His ultimate is great for displacement. It could be either for engage, it can be for stopping in an engage. For really a lot of places to go with that. But what we're very also curiously not seeing too much are any of the big flex pick OPs that were just nerfed in patch 9.3. So if you caught the freak list, these were some of the champions that were nerfed and then that were buffed. So not seeing a whole lot. The only one we really saw this game was Lissandra in the mid lane. But Cassiopeia getting picked in mid as well as bottom lane. I saw her get picked in mid lane over in LCK this week. And Sven played Cassiopeia in bot lane. That's right. Even after the recent nerf, Sven picking her up and performing quite admirably despite the big nerfs to her Q and the W, the Miasma and the Noxus Blast. So this game we are seeing the Aurelia. And like I was saying before, a few buffs and a single nerf. Also, her health stats were increased as well. So her health growth and armor both received base increases. So overall, this is thought to be a decent size buff for her. And that's why we're seeing her now in the game. I'm going to swing back over to the Pro Drafts page. I'm going to talk about these lanes a little bit. Caitlyn Nami up against what we're going to assume to be a Ezreal Morgana. I like the Caitlyn pick. I like the Caitlyn into Ezreal. All you have to do is you stand behind the farthest in front minion and just keep autoing. And as soon as that minion in front of you dies, you reposition back behind another minion so that Ezreal is not able to hit you with pokes constantly. Now, because it's a Nami support, Caitlyn might have some tools to get sped up, to be able to get some healing reduction, possibly do the bubble to trap combination where Nami throws out a bubble and then You place a trap right underneath whoever gets knocked up, and it's basically a double CC that lasts a very, very long time. And yes, Morgana's Black Shield can help alleviate some of that, but it's not always available, and it's got a very, very long cooldown now in its current iteration. Swinging back up along mid lane. I'm gonna say that Irelia is mid lane, and that the Karthus will be mid lane. I'm gonna say the Lulu's mid lane. This could really go a number of different ways, but Lulu against Irelia. You really like the Irelia here. I'd be very scared if I was the Lulu player. You have the polymorph when Irelia dives into you, and yes, it lasts 2 to 3 seconds depending on how much you scale it. But really, after that, you have a slow, you have a little shield you can put on yourself. But Irelia gets an item or two, gets a level lead, God forbid, and she's just gonna crush this Lulu in like 3 or 4 shots. At least that's what I could see. That's what I could see. Jungle, I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Sejuani. Again, Sejuani can be flexed different places. I've seen her top. She has been support. I'm not thinking that's gonna happen. I'm thinking it's gonna be Sejuani jungle.
That just goes to show you're nothing but a whiskey delta.
And up against the Karthus, in the jungle, we'd have the Karthus jungle. And really, when you're Karthus jungle, you really like to see this matchup because Sejuani is not able to pressure you early, and really Karthus's main weak spot is the first few, up until level 6, and then even onwards. Like Karthus really is pretty weak in the jungle up until you can start doing the camps without getting severely damaged, until you can really start moving through those camps. So around the level 8, 9, 10, 11, these types of levels, then that's when you start to feel a little better as Karthus. Before that, it's pretty dangerous. But Sejuani is not one of these champions that's able to deal with the Karthus. And last but not least, in the top lane, hypothetically, Jarvan. Jarvan we're seeing mostly in pro play and in solo queue as a jungler, but I'm assuming it's going to be top lane this time around. Up against the Gragas, and really both of them, you have to say Jarvan would be more looking towards winning the lane, whereas Gragas is more looking to get a good teleport play, looking to fight around objectives, looking to get to be that really reliable secondary tank who's not going to be affected too much by the Karthus ultimate because he's going to be building, some health and some resistances. So you like the Jarvan in lane, but the Gragas really has he's got quite a few tools for the mid-game team fight. I mean, so does Jarvan, but Gragas just has a little bit more. The ultimate just got a little bit more utility than Jarvan's. We've all seen the whole Jarvan I'm helping cataclysms where he's holding his team in where they could be getting kills, or he's letting the enemy team escape with an ill-timed R. But I haven't seen that yet today, and probably not going to see that this game. I'm just having a little bit of fun here. And when you're looking for scaling, well, once again, Gringos has got the lead in the scaling. Caitlyn, the Karthus, and then with the 2 supporty type champions, what they are lacking is a tank. I'm assuming that Jarvan will go second item tanky in this lane. Maybe a first item AD, and then switch it up. But he could just decide to go 2 or 3 damage items and then just go full damage. I mean, Gringos is already up 2-0. They've already shown that, I guess, they don't need a tank. When you're winning, when you're confident, you feel like you're on the top of the world, and that the game is in your corner, and that you decide where the action goes. And with this draft, that looks like what they're doing. 2 old men drop LP. A little more of a standard comp. Going for, 2 tanks, lots of engage, a decent amount of magic to like AD to AP ratio. They're a little bit heavy on the AD, but not too much so. You have Sejuani doing a little bit, Ezreal doing some, Irelia, a decent mix there. Kind of a more complete team where they're going to be looking to get in on engages in favorable situations. Whereas Gringos more looking to kind of let the game kind of come to them, kind of do a little bit more on the sieging front, a little more on the finding slight advantages here and there, having Karthus exploit low health bars. The supporty champions helping their carries, doing what they can, all kinds of shields. We're going to see if the Caitlyn is going to be able to get off to a better start than she did last game, losing very, very hard last game against the Varus. This game, I just don't like the Ezreal into Caitlyn personally. I've seen it work before. I have a friend who purposely picks into it every time. Loves the matchup. Just how he plays Ezreal, he's able to avoid the range and hit Qs and get Caitlyn down and out of lane before she can do the same to him. But we're going to see how this matchup lines up. I'm very curious to see where this Jarvan Karthus is going. I'm also curious to see where the Gragas, Sejuani, Irelia are going. Are we going to have one of these big tanks as support? Are we going to have Morgana maybe flex somewhere else? Which lane is Irelia going to? Is she going to top? Is she going to mid? All that's going to be decided very, very shortly. And just a last hello to everyone. Just pleasure casting for you all. I really hope that we get these games extended. I really want to see a 4th and a 5th game. I like the draft from Two Old Men. They have an easier to execute comp than Gringos. They they have more margin for error, and if they can hit the right ultimates, if they can get this game into mid game without falling behind, you really like how that they can look to start fights and get engages. I really like their vision coverage. They had good vision coverage in game 2. They just were not able to close things out, and you really saw how quickly a game can end when you get Baron and you're not able to just stem the tide, stem the damage, and it's just 2 members died, 3 members died, another member died, and it just was 2 turrets, 2 inhibitor, 2 team fight loss, 2 second inhibitor, and it's like, how can this happen? But here we have spectator mode has all but finished, and we're going to get back to the game. There we have it. Looks like we have some of our answers that we were looking for. Oh, no, excuse me, we have double smite for Gringos. This is what they're doing. They're doing double smite. We're having Lulu showing teleport. Oh, this is interesting. This is so interesting. It looks like a Sejuani top lane, Gragas jungle, Morgana mid on the side of Two Old Men. And then, well, it's hard to decide with the double smite from Jarvan and Karthus, but we do know for sure that Lulu's in a lane, but we already knew that. We're just going to have to see where who goes top and who goes jungle on the side of Gringos. 2 games to nothing, but let's not forget that Two Old Men look really good for the first 20 minutes, the first 25 minutes of game 2. They had the lead the entire time. They were way up. They were up 13, 14 kills at about the 15-minute mark, 20-minute mark. So they can get a lead. They just need to be able to close it out. And this is easier said than done, as we do have the answer to the question. We're having Jarvan starting off at red, and the mid lane Karthus, who, yes, is gone smite, and will have an advantage here with the 2 smites versus 1 Gringos. This is kind of fun. I like it. You don't get to see this very often. Last time I really saw this was when Aatrox was starting to pick smite in top lane and mid lane. But, you know, ever since that got patched out a couple of patches ago, I believe it was 9.1 around that time. But here, early damage. Let me go ahead and switch up. There we go. That's more like it. Irelia starting to get some early damage. Here, Caitlyn getting the push onto Ezreal, but Ezreal does not mind that. Let's go see what's top lane. I haven't seen a Sejuani top lane personally in one of my games in a while, but I do see it all the time picked in high-level solo queue with a teleport. And just got a lot of utility to be able to go into mid-game. Pretty safe. Really, it's hard to exploit. She's got the escape. She's got tankiness. She's got utility. And there's Lulu, knowing that she's going to have to flash. And just barely getting out. That's a timer we're going to want to keep track of. That's 8 minutes now for the flash on the Lulu. There you go. Karthus starting to do some jungle camps. Oh, I love the innovation from this team. This is not a standard LCS style comp. Like, you don't see... and the pro games that I've watched, I have not seen this as of yet in Season 9. But I love this. They're going to try to take away some enemy camps, I'm sure. Not too much going on there. Top lane gank. Oh, we're getting the knock up here from the Sejuani. And the flash Q. Beautiful knock up from the Gragas. And first blood over to Sejuani. So once again, a good start from 2 old men. And this time they're going to try not to lose LP. They've got the start here. First blood over to Sejuani, and with that flash being down from Lulu, you could look for this Gragas to set up a tent up here in top lane and get up here and really get an advantage for their team now that you know that flash is down. Of course, Gragas using that flash to get the stun, expertly used. Started with that E, and then as soon as she came up to that minions, flashed, and then got the knock-up. It's a move that takes a little bit of practice, but it's extremely important for Gragas' kit, as Gragas has been nerfed a number of times in the past year or so, when he was a must-picker ban. There's Jarvan thinking about it. And the jungler in the mid lane working well together. Karthus has got a little bit of mana issue here, so it's just going to head back to base, and we'll see what first item, Fiendish Codex, purchased with the Hunter's Talisman. I love it. 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 These are just so interesting, these games. This is not boring League of Legends in the slightest. Gragas picking that up. Yes, he's still a level down, but has the utility from that scuttle that he can engage on Jarvan, try to get a little bit of damage back, try to knock him back into his jungle. Jarvan currently 10 CS up, and at this early juncture, really strong. At least one of those went towards Gragas, but the big one went to Jarvan. Back over to the bot lane, Ezreal. Akam has been able to get that farm lead that Caitlyn had accrued back to even. And really, as Ezreal, this is what you're liking. You want in the laning phase, if you can go even with Caitlyn, you're in a real good spot. In the mid game, your items are you can item spike way harder than she can. I was just seeing the Karthus roam up towards the Raptors, but either getting pressured by Aurelia or seeing they weren't there. Karthus not wanting to get into a direct confrontation with Aurelia. Both of them have level 6. Ultimates up from both. Gragas calling a gank in the top lane. Had been seen. Flash is still down from Lulu for another minute or two. We'll go back to the mid lane. Karthus just wanting to farm back at the safe range. Once again, engagement here in the top. Lulu still no flash. Don't think that Gragas has the ability to do enough damage. No ultimate. Gragas had the ultimate. Would have been able to do it, but still about another 40% of that level 5 he needs to get through before he's got that. And by the time he gets level 6, Lulu will have the teleport and will have that additional tool to get out before any more damage can be done. Let's swing back over to the bot lane. Ezreal picking up the call, picking up the tier, just wanting to stack early on. So despite Caitlyn having this early damage item, that Ezreal is very, very happy scaling up these 2 items because he's at a huge damage disadvantage with Caitlyn. With all the extra AD, is just going to be able to do so much more damage. But here we're having a dive into the mid lane. Karthus is taken out. That's 1 turret shot. There's the slow, and it's going to be very close whether this takes him out. Whether it did or not, Jarvan was going to get the finish, and Karthus getting that first kill with the first ultimate. You're always happy when you're able to get a kill with your first ultimate, and he's going to take that trade. Whereas you don't really like that trade as Aurelia. You want to be getting an advantage. You don't want to be doing trades with Karthus. Karthus just wants to get more items, wants to get more gold, wants to get as much AP as possible so those ults do maximum damage. And here we're having the runic echoes on the mid lane Karthus, who's going towards that blue buff as we speak. Bot lane being pushed up, and look at all these turret plates taken from the Caitlyn. So as I was saying before, that Ezreal liked how that initial lane was going. Since we went back towards that mid lane, multiple turrets taken for the Caitlyn Nami. So not such a good bot lane as I was initially calling earlier. This bottom turret is going to be going down, it looks like, before these plates are finished, and that's 5 turret plates. So 5 times 160, I believe that's 900 gold. No, 800 gold. Anyways, on stream math, it's one or the other. You know, it's a lot of gold. And turret plates are so important, and that what I believe is one of the main reasons why Caitlyn has been picked up so much recently, along with the crit 80 carry chains. But here, Jarvan's coming up, being able to lock, first of all, up the Morgana, and Flash going over. That looked like it was a little bit of a miss flash from Ezreal. Looks like he went in the wrong direction there, but trying to trade one back is the Sejuani, and he's trying to, and he's very, very close, but just barely being able to pick that up. And that's because of the recent damage buffs that Sejuani did get when she was reworked just a short time ago. But also coming down to the bot lane is Lulu. And we're going to see if we're going to have a lane swap here, or whether this just was a big team fight, and that's the way it stands. So 4 kills to 5. Gringos just slightly down in the kill category, but a little bit up in the gold category. As we've seen, they've been able to farm slightly better than 2 old men throughout this tournament so far. And I just mean the finals, just what I would be able to see through the finals. Karthus having a gold lead here onto the Aurelia, as well as the Lulu, despite getting an early first blood against her, has a nice farm lead over the Sejuani, who does have 3 kills. So getting a Spectre's Carol, getting that Balmy Cinder, really has a nice core of items for your top lane Sejuani. Gragas as well went ahead and picked up the runic, has those Predator boots, and Morgana has a lot of trouble here, even with the Black Shield and the stopwatch, using ultimate, stopwatch, using a lot to not really go anywhere. So Kelvin will be very disappointed with how that went. It's not so much the dying, it was more about what was used during the dying. That was kind of disappointing for him. And Gragas trying to steal out the dragon with the ultimate, but Jarvan picking up that smite and does not look like he's had enough yet, getting that electrocute proc onto this jungler. Very, very close game. This is game 3 of the finals. Invictus Game Stations Cup Season 2. Brought to you by the Toronto League Commune. I'm Exel. I'm trying to bring you the action here, but here we're having Gragas coming in with the Predator, missing everything. Ultimate used from Nami to try to create a little bit of distance, and Karth is picking up the kill with the ultimate. The Requiem picking up that kill. Already 2 kills for Karthus. Both kills coming on the back of the ultimate. Irelia, despite being down in farm, does have 2 kills. And that's about everything. Tried to give it over to the Caitlyn. And Nami just wanting to make sure to secure that. Had the bubble, wanted to give that over to Jarvan, but will not be too disappointed that she secured that, as they just wanted to kill there. 7 kills to 5. Action here in the top lane. Lulu getting all kinds of damage again, so she does have the ultimate on her, and a little bit of a mana issue for Sejuani. It would have been close. I'd like to think that I didn't know what all the cooldowns were, but you did see the Nami ultimate just go down after the disengage of Sejuani. So I'd like to say that Sejuani would have won that trade, but I'm not 100%. And with those mana bars, it looks like that mana bar had enough for about 2 spells, about 2 casts. And that's about it before she ran out. Rift Herald being pinged here for Gringos. And those lay wastes already doing nice bars, nice chunks of damage to Irelia. I believe I saw that one lay waste do about 2 bars, bar and a half of damage. Very happy how this is turning out. Most farm in the game is Karthus with the smite, pushing the wave in, going to get a camp, pushing the wave in, getting a camp, repeat, repeat, rinse and repeat. Going to get this blue buff. Scrying Orb did see the Karthus take the blue there. They know Karthus is taking this. Scrying Bloom, that is. Rift Herald being prioritized. They do have the Mountain Drake to help with this. TP coming in. That is the Ezreal TPing in. Big team fight. All 5 members are here, but the Karthus ultimate is going to do all kinds of damage and no more life bars. Oh, wow. Gringos just taking it to them. A perfect ace, and that is a huge lead now. What was previously a close game right over the Rift Herald, the conscious decision of 2 old men drop LP to have the Ezreal teleport towards that fight. He was just about 5 seconds after the fight had started, but it was too late at that point. Karthus not even dying, using the ultimate, picking up a kill and a couple of assists. Really, everything is going up. Everything's turned up Millhouse. See if we can do with the accent. Everything's turning out Millhouse. Well, you know, that's my best try. And to add insult to injury, Rift Herald being used. That's going to knock down the tower. Dragon's up in 45 seconds. Well, just barely being able to keep it alive. But that's not going to provide very much protection at all. I'm really enjoying the Karthus play of LLYR. He's got a really strong score. But here, getting caught out is the Jarvan. Oh, 3 procs on that pass. It was so very close, but not even being able to be taken out. The Karthus ultimate will be very close to taking out the Sejuani, but nothing back on the retreat. And they just needed to get damage done on that. They're in a lot of trouble here as two old men. They really have no way of getting out of this team fight, and they engaged on it, and now they're regretting it. Oh, that was so close. If I really had tanked that, it might have been enough to kill her. So it was a good idea that Sejuani took that up. I took that ultimate 14-6. Now 6,000 all the way over towards the Team Gringos. And I gotta hand it to these guys. Winning that close game in Game 1. Game 2, coming back from a comeback that I've never seen the likes of that before. At least casted anything like that. You're talking about a 3 or 4 minute timeline, being down that much, and then coming back to not only take a lead but to win the game. And now picking out a very unusual double smite pick, Lulu top. No one's playing Lulu top right now, especially since the Frostfang nerf. And just being able to win in every sort of manner. This game is not over by the slightest. It's just they now have the lead, and they've been able to do more with less. And with this Karthus now at 200 farm at the 17-minute mark, well, just here I go, having the stun right onto Jarvan, and Lulu using the ult. That's going to be down for the next 90 seconds or so. Not wanting to get anything to go against them. Mid lane turret still up. Every turret up for Team Gringos. Also, both objectives taken, both dragons taken with the Rift Herald as well. So really, nothing going wrong for this Team Gringos. And two old men, they are looking for anything. They can't just hide in a turret and let this scale. They need to engage in a team fight where they have an advantage. They need to burst somebody out very quickly and then not go down enough to have Karthus be able to clean up the fight. And you're talking about a very narrow win condition. But they have the ultimates for it. They have Sejuani, who is really having a hard time farming in this mid game. Only 88 farm versus the 126 from Lulu. You have the Gragas ultimate as well, who's also down a little bit on the Jarvan. Irelia can burst. If you get some CC chained, she can do some damage. It's just, you need to have that opportunity. That opportunity could be in a binding from Morgana. Possibly one of these other big CC ults. A Gragas ultimate right in this area, knocking one back. Could be a way in, but you don't think that Gringos is going to give that to them. Very hard to team fight when you got 3 traps placed along this area. The siege is what Caitlyn excels at. Bubble knocked up, and Caitlyn being caught with a CC. And yes, being put on with the ultimate, but really not able to do too much. And this is not going to end well for two old men. Yes, Karthus is going down, but you know that's not the end of it. Ultimate going down, and Gragas being picked up with that. 5 kills for Karthus. We're having 3 kills for 2. So 3 kills for 2 old men, but very, very low health bars versus 2 for Gringos. But that's, overall, it's okay for 2 old men, but I mean, you want to be trading kills when you have this much of a gold lead, a gold disadvantage. But with their low health bars, they're not going to be able to push up too much farther. Yes, mid lane did just get pushed from Irelia, but they're not going to get a whole lot of that. They're going to extend the game. But as was said before the game, you have to give the scaling advantage for the blue team, Team Gringos. With this Karthus, who, just take a look. Look at those items. Oblivion Orb, Runic Echoes, Rabadon's Death Cap at the 21-minute mark. That's pretty scary. Got to also hand it to Lulu in the top lane, only dying once. combining for 8 assists, just providing that right amount of utility. Also, lest we forget, the support Wrath on the Karma only dying once as well, rocking 12 assists versus the Kelvin, the counterpart on Morgana, who's only got 5 assists despite 5 deaths. So excellent job from the Nami. We did see a couple of key ultimates and bubbles from her. And despite Caitlyn getting caught just a little bit in that last team fight underneath the tower, blue team, Team Gringos, getting just enough traded back that 2 old men can't do anything with it. Karthus being left to her own devices, pushing top lane to base. Baron's up. Vine's hitting, but no follow-up damage. Just, hey, you know, I'm Morgana, and I'm here. I have skills. I can hit them, too. Baron being started, but it really looks like a half-hearted attempt. Don't think they really want to be going for it at this time. Yes, they do have 2 mountain dragons, but it really looks like they're trying to get a turnaround. They're backing right off. But here in the top lane, Aurelia going into the Jarvan. She can win this one-on-one, but let's see if the team can follow right up. Diving under the bot lane is the Jarvan. Does get the Cataclysm under turn, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous play. You gotta hand it to Jarvan, just using the skills in the Cataclysm right under the turret. But meanwhile, more and more is happening. Ezreal just landing everything on to the Caitlyn. But meanwhile, Karthus is going to ultimate, as he so often does. Just getting away from that is 2 old men and getting the trade once again, 2 for 2. That does go in their favor. But meanwhile, Karthus with blue buff is pushing here in the bot waves, tower, and with 2 mountain dragons is able to push this very quickly. So excellent team fight here from 2 old men, keeping this game close. It's in the 6,000 gold range as we speak, which wasn't as high as it was before. So excellent job by them, but we still got a long way to go, and they're still down, and the enemy team does scale more. And you have a fed Karthus who's farming incredibly with that has levels. Look at that, level 16 versus the enemy jungler Gragas, level 12. You have a 4-level lead that this Karthus has over this enemy jungler. So just think about the Baron steal. Right now, Karthus doing 800 damage to the Baron, whereas Gragas is doing a measly 600. Not the same. Big 200 damage smite lead for the Karthus if it ever comes to that. But frankly, Gringos does not really need to take the Baron. They can, I mean, they don't need to force it. Of course, they can take it if they get a team fight lead, if they get a pick, if they get some sort of macro advantage. But here, Caitlyn moving in, getting some big damage onto the Ezreal, who's going to trade back. Just barely being able to get out, and 2 weak members of 2 old men are trying to get back to base before Karthus gets his ultimate again. It's up in about 10 seconds. Sejuani going down. Caitlyn doing an excellent job positioning at the front of the team and not getting bursted down. So excellent play. I haven't talked too much about Hayam Guardian, but here we're seeing the high level play that she's been able to do. She, the character, I'm not sure if the player is male or female, but Hayam Guardian, you're showing how to play Caitlyn and not being scared and how you do it. Just standing there. As soon as you see something come back your way, move back a little bit, let your team support you. But here we're having some more fights going on to the Baron, but the team stays on it. Gringos looks like they're going to try to burst it out. There it's at 1,200 damage, and they're going to be able to just get it out, just barely smiting that with having a little bit left on it. But Gragas not in a position to try to challenge for that, and very, very close proceedings here around the Baron. But at the end of the day, Gringos takes the Baron, whereas 2 old men are just looking for whatever they can get. And yes, they are sticking in this. Yes, they are game. And yes, they are making this entertaining. But can they do it? Only time will tell. But if you were a betting man, you would not put a whole lot of money on them taking this game down. But this is what's great about League of Legends, is we don't know. We could see Gringos getting just a little bit too. Whoa, look at those dodges! Just dodging the cues of both Ezreal and Morgana. An excellent job from Karthus, whose ultimate is down, and whose Ocean Dragon is slowly healing him up. Doesn't even have to go back to base, and that's when you have the Dragon lead. He doesn't even have to go there. He's just going to saunter over towards the Scuttle and the blue buff while his team pushes. 7,000 gold now for Gringos. Karthus doesn't even have to be there. That's how far ahead that they are. And if two old men were to engage, which they most likely will try to do, they still may not win the fight because of how big this Karthus is and how his ultimate is now doing half health bars to weaker members of two old men. Look at those lay waste. They're doing quarter damage. 3 lays waste almost completely take out Gragas. That's even without the ultimate. That's just 3 Qs. Bang, bang, bang. You're done. Gragas. Okay, you're being tapped out. You're like the Undertaker in Survivor Series in 1998. I'll pretend like I know wrestling back from then that much. But anyways, putting him back down into the coffin is the Undertaker, known as Grim Reaper Karthus. And Tyler on LLYR is giving me a lesson as my second most played champ here in 2019, showing me, Exel, how to play Karthus, picking up tips left and right. But here we're having to counter engage onto the Caitlyn, and she knows that once that charge is down from Sejuani, he's got nothing left with the red buff, is able to keep the slow procs on. She's going to keep hitting people for all that she can do. Caitlyn can't be touched, and here the last person to try to be able to do that is Aurelia, and it's not going to be enough. We may have your Season 2 champions, Gringos, coming down to the wire. They have one more Nexus turret to take out as well as the Nexus. Nobody coming back up. We have 2 members of 2 old men who are back at the Nexus, not even going to be able to go any further. Is the Gragas trying to get up at the last kill. But there you have it, the Season 2 Invictus Game Station League of Legends champions. Wow. Diamond Haze, Whale, LLYR, Tyler, Hi, I'm Guardian, Wrath, 3 Owen. Just amazing. Just amazing. What more are you going to say? And here, almost like I'm a sage, I'm going to show you guys MVP for the Game 3. That's right. That's right. You see that. Grim Reaper Karthus, like I had this planned or something like that. MVP for that final game. Right there. Tyler. 319 farm in 28 minutes. I'm loving it. Wow. Oh, what a tournament. What team play. Entertaining games all the way around. Wow. Who else do I have to thank? Thank you, Nate, for setting this up. Everything was on time. Game started on time. Not too many breaks in between. Just everything. It's so hard with a live tournament when you're dealing with players, having to get to venues, having to all coordinate. And what a well-run event. Thank you, everyone who put in the hard work. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your names. I don't know everyone behind the scene, but just amazing job. And hey, if you get a chance, if you want to see some League of Legends casting, if you want me to cast your games, okay? That's what I'm here for. I love casting fun, interesting, especially local League of Legends here on in the Toronto scene. And I just love casting all these guys. Thank you so much. 2 old men drop LP. You guys put in some great games. You didn't give up. You really tried to do your darndest, and you provided an excellent tournament. Just amazing. And that's all I got to say. Like, there's nothing more to say than that. You came, you saw, you heard, you watched, you hopefully enjoyed. Thank you, TLC Stream, for having me on. And Exel saying goodbye, and we'll see you soon. Take care.